I can hear you. Or I could hear you.
Focuses, or they break off their current and hop along the make a break. It's really quick.
There we go. Sorry, who we got there? Just see the top of your head. Excellent. Sorry, I can hear somebody's dog. That's going to be Muliani. There we go. Now we can't hear the dog anymore. All right, who's here this week? Less people than last week because they've been watching Bitcoin go down. Is that the story? Are you there, Matt? I can't hear anybody else.
I'm here.
Yep, okay. Well, I can hear one person. Can't hear Muliani. And...
Hello.
Yes, sorry, who we got there?
It's Jeremy.
It's Jeremy. JT, welcome.
Hey, how you going?
Thank you. And
Finally worked out my microphone issues.
Bernard just popped in as well. And we've got Billy. Welcome, Mr. William. Excellent. Excellent. So a couple of you guys weren't here last week. I'm hoping you have managed to watch the previous videos. Little show of hands. Berna, yes. Watch the previous videos. Understand the homework. No idea what's going on. You just came along, and thank you for coming along. So have we got any questions or queries from the homework from last week, or questions from the people who weren't here last week? I'm waiting for you, Werner.
Yeah, hi Jeremy, my name is Gustav. I'm Lindsay's husband.
Oh, hello, hello.
Hello, and yeah, she just happened to tell me that there is actually recordings. So
yes,
yeah, I didn't know that, so I don't basically know anything. But you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm here now, so you know.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, the recordings are up on the Cryllionaire.com website.
Okay.
Muliani is the tech support. So the first week I succeeded in just recording one of the people who was watching. So there was no sound and just a picture of Matt smiling at his screen. But Muliani rescued me and found the original video and saved that. And then last week, after we finished up, I forgot to end the meeting. I just closed the computer and walked away, and it ended up recording all night. So instead of being a 1 hour video, it was a 13-hour video. And Muliani rescued me again by editing 13 hours of darkness back down to 1 hour of light. So
there we go.
But Lindsay was here last week, and I think the week before, and
right.
She profiled Sia coin for us. We're all profiling a couple of coins and sharing it with everybody else, so we can find out, you know, which ones are good and which ones might not be so good. Sometimes you might think it's really good, and then everyone else goes, no, don't touch that one. So it's a little bit of group homework to help everybody.
I see,
and
okay.
we answer each other's questions. I mean, I probably know 5% more than what someone else does. So that's why I'm facilitating the meeting, but I'm rapidly learning in this new space. So what coins are you holding at the moment, Gustav?
Oh, there's actually a list of 25 different coins, but I think we are trying to target the top 20 at least.
Yes, yeah. Good move.
And I don't know, it feels like areas of interest really.
Yeah.
On top of that, so if you feel strong about something, as in medical, you know, marijuana or something, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe get some potcoin and stuff like that. If you believe in that, I guess. Yeah,
Yes.
we,
Yeah.
we
That's
just play
actually
by
one
ear.
that I looked at this week as well. Is the medical marijuana, and there's one that's actually it's using your thumbprint technology on your iPhone, so you could actually dose yourself, but no one else could actually smoke your weed unless they had your thumbprint. So I thought that was interesting.
Ooh.
You know. So
Oh, definitely.
yeah, using technology to make sure someone else doesn't take your prescription, so to speak. So
Ah.
very good. So you've chosen those in line with your core values, just whatever you feel strongly about. You'll search for the medical coin or for the whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I guess you have to. Yeah, I would say so. Also, if you can say that something is gonna be there in 5, 10, 20 years, you know, if you believe that, I reckon then I'll put some money down.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few very what we call like sort of socially responsible things. There's ones that's like Habitat for Humanity, building affordable housing for the homeless people and things like that, and green energy and a lot of these ones where you can actually trade energy and cutting out the middleman. So there's some very exciting projects going on in the field. So we've talked briefly about the medical marijuana one. Is there another one that you'd like to share with us that you've been researching?
I would say I'm a bit interested in Cardano actually. We have Cardano, but you know, yeah, I'm researching that at the moment. So you know, I'm a former or a co-founder of Ethereum startup Cardano, and I don't know. I just think that that's going to be a potential Ethereum slayer, but I don't know about that. But
what do you like best about Cardano?
Just started to do the research, but as far as I understand, it's not really a blockchain. It was, I don't know the name, but again, I don't know enough to talk about it. But if it's not a blockchain, it could be a good thing to have in your portfolio. Yeah. For that reason. So, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I think there's blockchains and there's tangles and there's hash graphs and there's all sorts of stuff, and it's hard to keep up with the technology. But as long as you understand basically what it does, then you can explain it to someone else. You know, like obviously Bitcoin, you're transferring money from person to person without using a bank, and some of the other ones, obviously, you know, as we said with the medical marijuana, raising funds for Habitats for Humanity and things like that. So you can understand it basically, and if it aligns with your goals and your ethics, then that's a fantastic way to choose. So last week, if you can find last week's video, we actually went over what I call the coin process as four-step process for actually choosing a good investment, making sure you get the good ones, because about 10% of the coins that have been launched in the last 6 to 12 months have actually gone bust. And of the 90% that are left, some of them have gone down, some of them have gone up. So this will actually help you out. So thank you for sharing, and welcome, Matty. And we won't embarrass you for coming in late, but I'm really glad you're here, mate. Werner, we'll get to you now if we can, mate. You weren't here last week. Can we hear you? Can you say hi?
Hi.
Ah, there you go. Okay. So
hi, Jeremy. How are you?
Tell us a little bit about what you've been looking at or investing into.
Look, I'm at the beginning stages. So I've been listening to the last 2 group calls that you've made, and I've gone ahead and opened up Coinbase.
Excellent.
And I just purchased a couple of $100 worth of Ethereum, and that's about it. That's all I've done.
Okay. So was that like yesterday you bought Ethereum or a week ago?
Yesterday.
Okay, good. You actually bought it while it was down. But if you just want to adjust your monitor there, Dale, because we can only see you from like the eyes up. There we go. Now we can see you. Yeah. Yeah, so there was a lot of press last week about you know, Bitcoin basically cut in half and Ethereum cut in half, and a few of the bigger coins that basically crashed, as they say. But if you bought Bitcoin for 1,000 in 12 months, you're worth 25,000, and then to go down to 10,000 or 12,000, you go, well, who cares? I'm still, you know, way in front of where I was. But people who bought in just, you know, last week, if they bought in at, you know, say 20-odd thousand, then they sort of woke up one day and it was 12,000, they go, what the hell's going on? And it's mostly through the Asian community. So in China and Korea and Singapore, people who have been in Bitcoin and Ethereum for the last 12 months have gone, woohoo, I've just made all this money. And Chinese New Year is coming up. And Chinese New Year is sort of bigger than New Year and Christmas combined. Everybody wants to travel. Everybody wants to buy presents. They all want to see their family. So there was a massive sell-off. But the same thing happened in the middle of January last year. The same thing happened in the middle of January the year before. And again, it's led by the Asian community who are just doing a massive sell-off. And then in the last sort of 24, 48 hours, the people from America and Australia and Canada and that sort of stuff who don't celebrate Chinese New Year have been jumping in and buying while it's cheap. So it's gone back up again. But if you look at the charts from, you know, say back to 2013, every year, you'll see Bitcoin drops down in the middle of January and then starts to creep back up. And then by April, it's in front again. So good move. So you've looked at Ethereum, you understand a little bit about how it works and what it does, or you just think it's a cool name?
Yeah, look, I've read about it and I like what it does. And the only thing now with me is that I don't know what to do while I'm in there. So I've got the wallet, I've got I've purchased the Ethereum, so now I don't know what to do with it.
Well, you can treat it like gold. You can just sit on it for the next 5 years if you want to. If you want to, you can buy other coins. There's plenty of other coins that'll trade against Ethereum, so you can use Ethereum to buy other things. So today I actually swapped out some Ethereum and I used the Ethereum to buy Monero, and I used Ethereum to buy, what was the other one? Power Ledger. So I could actually swap those, because you got to pay money to transfer like your Aussie dollars or your US dollars into Ethereum. But on a lot of the exchanges, you can actually swap like for like, and the fees are either zero or significantly less. But rather than, you know, if you're on the stock exchange and you bought Qantas shares, you have to sell the Qantas shares, turn them into dollars, and then turn the dollars back into Woolworth shares. This way you can just swap straight across, and it's far more convenient. So, but take notes, make notes, have a look on the Cryllionaire website. So if you watched the last couple of calls, we did name probably about 20 or 30 different coins in there. And there's also a list on the website as well saying, these are some and this is what they do. And if you're excited by that, if your kids love Disney, then you buy the Tron coin. Or if you're, you know, into complete privacy, then you might buy the Monero. If you like cutting out the power companies and selling your solar power back to the neighbors rather than selling it back to the grid, then you might get behind Power Ledger. So there's a few different things. As I say, align it with your own core values and also look at what other people are looking into as well. So, right. Very cool. We're all learning. We're all learning. That's the key thing. So
very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad you've opened a wallet and you've managed to buy some coins. So that's the first 2 steps. You know, yeah. you've done that, which is excellent. Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy.
Cheers. Mr. Pike, what are you up to? Are you there, William?
Yes, mate. I shall show my face. I'm scoffing my face. Didn't really want any kitchen noises, did we?
It's all good, mate. So what have you been into this week?
So well, this is the first time I've come on your call, Jeremy. Yes, I've just been doing a bit of research on a few of the ones. I haven't actually seen your website. I'm just trying to cheat and look at it now and try and act intelligent. Good
yeah.
But yes, I've bought a few things along the way, including Litecoin. I'm looking at, like as mentioned earlier, stuff in the top 20 or 50, anything over $500 million cap currently.
Yeah.
As a long-term hold type scenario. And yeah, just yeah, I don't have any information, but I'm just trying to do some research on wax. So I don't know if anyone's got wax on there, but that's one that I'm going to look at this week.
Yeah, wax was launched a while ago, so it's been trading on the open market for a while. And when I first heard about it, they were saying it's for gamers and people who play these online games. And you set up your little avatar character, and then you say, I want my avatar to wear a cowboy hat, or I want him to wear a blue shirt, or I want him to have a sword, or whatever. And the guy who was actually doing the report on wax said, I can't remember what the exact figure was, but there was so many hundreds of billions of dollars that was spent on avatar costumes for online gamers.
80
billion. There you go. The figure. And it was actually more. They spent more money on pretend clothes for pretend avatars than was actually spent on real clothes for clothing real people. So it was some amazing figures, absolutely amazing figures. So I think, I'm not part of the gaming community. I know people who are, and they can be quite obsessive about this sort of stuff and spend a lot of money on it. So, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, no, it was more, that was like not a buy and hold, but something that I considered that in my single-digit percentage high-risk scenarios are part of my portfolio and my way of thinking, Jeremy. So, yeah, I'll just have a look at it, have a little bit more of an in-depth understanding of what that is, and go from there, mate. And I'm interested in Cardano as well, so I've got to do some research to understand where that is at and what that does.
Sorry, Cardano?
Cardano, yes. Oh,
yeah. Yep. For sure.
So I'll just see how the week unfolds with my research of understanding what I'm investing in.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Matt, what have you been up to?
You can hear me there? I'm just trying to laugh.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you, mate.
See me? Oh, I hope that's okay. Fortunate for you. I haven't been up to much since I sent you that message. I haven't found any more about that particular policy. So maybe to say some the right information, maybe that it's not worth following up. I don't know. I just guess I've got a couple of questions I'm trying to get around the conceptual understanding of. Okay, if Jeremy's selling his brand new Audi to me or something, and I'll give you whatever it's worth, 2 Bitcoins at the time, and then I give that, and you go, okay, no worries. And then all of a sudden Bitcoin goes down, and then, I'm just giving you, say, it might be $40,000 worth of Bitcoin, and then it's dropped, and now it's worth 30 grand. You can about the exchange I'm just giving you. So I guess I'm just looking at it from the perspective of people's faith in their value of the coin because of the volatility. So
yeah. I mean, that's something that most of us haven't had to deal with previously, unless you're a business, unless you're importing. If you were buying, little teddy bears from China, and you're dealing with, you have to buy the Chinese currency so that you can actually pay these guys in the factory, and then they ship the teddy bears over to you. Then, the currency fluctuations, the last little 5 minutes on the news where everyone leaves and makes a cup of tea is when they're talking about what the Aussie dollar is against the yen and the euro and that sort of stuff. So it's not important to most of us, which is why it's only the last 2 minutes of the news. But if you're importing and exporting, then you're actually having to buy other currencies. And this is really what we're doing. With crypto, we're actually buying other currencies. So it depends on how bullish you are on the future of Bitcoin. Like you might say, look, I'm going to sell my new Audi to someone for 2 bars of gold. And that's okay, because right now 2 bars of gold might be worth more than the Audi. Someone gives them to you, but then the gold price goes down tomorrow. What do you do? Well, if you like gold, then you just hang on to it. You don't have to sell while it's down. And if you chose your preferred currency, so you can choose gold, you can choose Ethereum, you can choose Bitcoin or whatever, you're probably going to hang on to it.
Sure. I guess if people's mindset are they have faith in the coin, that's great. That's just, I guess, more people jump on board and the faith in the product hopefully goes up.
Yeah, I mean, the flip side's also true for the other guy. Like he might give you 2 Bitcoins or 2 bars of gold, and then all of a sudden the resale value of the Audi goes down because Audi brings out a new model, or Mitsubishi finds a way to make one cheaper or something like that. Now, we're always taking a risk in any transaction. It just depends on your attitude.
Off the track, and I'm just thinking of it all in terms of being unregulated and untaxable and these sort of things, which is great because then we're, I guess, making a stand where we can have a currency and we have more control of it. But I'm just looking from the other point of view of now, say when you've got the local, state, and federal governments where it's money being allocated into funds for whatever infrastructure. So in the future, I'm going, well, who's going to pay for that if suddenly the government's unregulated, there's no money in the system because we're all controlling it? Well, then there's going to have to be some form of regulation within that to make that happen, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably a conversation for another call.
Sorry, too much about it.
Yeah. Oh, the tax system is one that I'm also passionate about, mate. But you're driving on the bridges and you're driving through the toll roads, and a lot of the infrastructures that you're talking about are actually privately owned.
Sure.
So there's some corporation who put up $50 million and dug a tunnel, and then they take $2 or $3 every time someone drives through the tunnel. So it's not actually taxpayer dollars that are paying for those sort of things.
That's true.
That goes on a lot. So even the provision of the energy pylons and these sort of things, a lot of those are private infrastructure. So the government doesn't do as much as we actually give them credit for, but they're not going to tell you that. If you think the government's going around and fixing all the potholes and feeding the homeless and paying for all the schools and hospitals, then that's good. They're gonna let you believe that, but if you dig down into it, it might not be true. So, but I don't think even if you're making $1 million a year out of cryptocurrency trading, I don't think that your tax, paying or not paying, is not going to affect the government too much. So
yeah, I know I'm looking at the big picture, getting off the track. I guess this is more of a specific question. When you were saying that you've paid friends of yours, or it might have been, was it in the Philippines or somewhere with Bitcoin? And
just lean into the microphone, mate. You're getting a bit. Yep.
I was just saying, you pay friends of yours overseas with Bitcoin, it's an instant transaction, and then you're avoiding fees.
Yeah.
It's just when they convert it back into whatever it is, the currency, the peso, or whatever they're using, then they're going to get a fee there. But the fee varies between coins, doesn't it? I think like Litecoin was 50 cents for a conversion, where Bitcoin's a lot more. Is that right? So
yeah. Bitcoin's significantly gone up since they closed down a lot of the Chinese miners. So the transaction fees have lifted significantly on that, but a lot of the Chinese mining operations are now moving to Russia. Russia's providing generous incentives to them and selling them electricity for really, really cheap because they want factories over in Russia to help their economy. But there are other coins where there's zero transaction fees. One is IOTA. I can't think of the other one right now off the top of my head. But there's a few who actually do zero transaction fees. They just rely on other people in the network. So if you wanted to send me 10 IOTA, it'd pop up on your phone and say, okay, send Jeremy 10 IOTA. But then it'd also pop up saying, you've got to process this transaction and this transaction. So you actually become a little miner and you have to go bing, bing and transfer someone else's money. And then yours will pop up, yours will send. But before yours reaches me, someone else in the world is trying to send money and it'll pop up on theirs. DAG is the other one, which is the guys I spoke to last week in India, DAG. So that's also running off this system. And you've got 1 billion Indians who want to send money to other people. But before they send it, they have to process 2 other transactions. So the transaction speed at the moment is about 30 seconds with the DAG coin. But the more people use it, the faster it gets.
Yeah, the whole mining concept, is that what you're saying there? You're actually authenticating other people's transactions.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're using your phone, your electricity and your processing power to actually process that little transaction in 2 seconds, rather than having a giant mining rig which is processing thousands of transactions all day. It just relies on the users.
Yeah, during the week, I've done watched a few YouTube videos on the mining rigs. I still don't fully grasp it, but as you said, one guy had it set up in his office that he was, I think, $30 a day for this particular one, and $20 a day. But then I suppose I talk about how these things generate, and then these massive mining rigs, they're putting them in isolated places where it's cold because of the heat that they generate as well to make them run without crashing. So,
yeah.
And as you say, it's gets complicated when you start trying to understand the more energy required for the, must be to do with the computations with the encryption, and that's to do with how fast it's processed. Hopefully I understand that, but yeah, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the miners are basically doing what the banks used to do. You know, they're just verifying the transactions on the way in between me to you. So we're cutting out the bank as the middleman, but we're putting someone else as the middleman. And I'm for one, I'm happy that it was, you know, little guys in China who used to work for $1 a day or $2 a day, rather than the banking executives who have had us over the barrel for the last 500 years. And if it moves into Russia and Lithuania and Estonia and some of these other little countries, Iceland, great, you know, sharing the wealth around. But for some,
that's awesome. I didn't think of it from that perspective. So yeah, that's definitely. And what was the name of that particular point you said where that mining concept? What was that called?
yeah, I've just put that in the comments though. So the first one was IOTA.
This is IOTA and DAG.
Yeah, and the other one is DAG, which is the one that's the #1 coin in India at the moment. So I had a meeting with those guys on Thursday night, I think. I've been chatting to them. So it's one I wasn't aware of, but you know, developing nations have had to do whatever they've had to do. Yeah. And these guys have created a new system. It's just, you know, it's the #1 one over there, and it'll probably be used by a lot of people over here as well, because it's already got 1 billion people as their market. So I mean, if you go to some of the ICO sites now, they're actually, you know, they're saying download our white paper. It's in English and it's in Chinese and it's in Russian and it's in, you know, a few other languages, because all of these currencies are now don't have any borders. So we're no longer having the Chinese money and the Australian money and the English money or whatever. You can just choose one from anywhere, and it doesn't have any borders. It doesn't have any language. It's completely decentralized. So it's very exciting times.
Absolutely. The thing like that, where you mentioned the authentication and people can actually be part of it. That's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there's, I can't remember the statistic. There's 2 billion people in the world who have never had a bank account. And, you know, when I lived in Bali, it was 95% of the people in Bali are not registered taxpayers, because most of them are just running a little family restaurant, or they're selling T-shirts or whatever, and they'll sell for cash and they'll take the cash home. They don't have a bank account. Because, you know, some parts of Indonesia, you need $100 US to even open a bank account, and they never actually accumulate $100 US. So they're just feeding themselves and feeding their family, never get to open a bank account, never get to pay taxes, and that's okay. But if they want to actually launch their business and go to the next level and start hiring people and sending money to friends and relatives in other countries, they're going to need to have a bank account. But where this solves the problem is saying anybody who's got a smartphone, if you've got friends or relatives who live on the next island over, then you can just send them money as easily as sending an email. And then you can start to send money to other suppliers, whether it be in China or whether it be in India or Indonesia or wherever. Just send money to them as easily as you send an email. You don't need a bank account.
Yes,
so
I think it's going to equalise the wealth of this people if they've got companies that have the opportunities.
Yeah. So that was Hero, the one that I was talking about then. I think it's Hero Token IO. I'm just typing this off the top of my head. So if you want to Google Hero, I think the link is on the Cryllionaire page as well. So that's one that I've bought into, because it's a massive market out there. It's almost half of the world's population has either never had a bank account or has a bank account that they can't use.
Yeah.
So,
believe it or not, it's not just a bank account. They're actually being part of a bank or a process as well. So it's the opportunities are amazing.
Yeah. Verna's taking pictures of the notes because she doesn't want to type it. Which ICO site do you recommend? There's literally heaps. I can't even remember the one that I went to today. But it's basically it's a task for if you're on Facebook or if you're on Reddit or if you're on somewhere and someone's mentioned the coin, then you can actually search for the coin. There's, I think, a site called bitcointalk.org where they actually talk about some of the ICOs, but there's a lot of traffic on Reddit and Facebook and other social media sites. So and there's not going to be the best one. It's like saying which is the best newspaper to read. If you read the Courier Mail, you're going to get biased journalism, and if you read someone else, you're going to get something else. So it's best to hear about the coin first and then go searching for where the ICO is or where the exchange is. So good question. Thank you. JT, do you want to say something?
Yeah, you there?
Yeah, there you go. We've got you.
Yeah, I thought I'd just duck out in the yard and do a few things while people were talking, then got caught out.
Yeah, exactly. Don't listen to anybody else. You're the most important guy in the room.
That's exactly right. No, mine's been like a very short, sharp learning curve, just like everyone else's. It's kind of interesting to hear some of the coins you're actually speaking about this afternoon, because there are a couple that I bought into on the weekend. So the Cardano and IOTA. And I thought I'd better jump on the Sea of Coins team. You guys were talking about that last week, and it sort of went up the rise and then dropped down. And I thought, oh, that's a good opportunity to get in, but it's gone back down again. But that's all right. We're just going to sit and hold.
Yeah.
ICOs. I'm in ParkGene. It's a ParkGene, peer-to-peer parking, and that sort of. It was funny that I found that, like, because it came off the back. We went for a trip to Adelaide, and the exorbitant fees that people pay for parking. $10 an hour, or less than an hour. And that's nothing compared to what some people are paying. In these big capital cities around the world. Tens of thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, well, that seems to make sense to me.
Okay. Yeah, I've often thought, like, sometimes you have to go and you have to put $4 in the meter because you think you're going to be there for an hour, and after 15 minutes you leave, and then you go, oh, that money's just wasted.
That's right. Yeah.
Other people who have got a car park underneath their office and they're not using it, so they could actually lease it to somebody else. That's
right.
Interesting. So it's GENE, ParkGene?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So it's only, like, the pre-sale has only just finished, and I think they've probably been on for about, the ICO have been going for about a week, so there was a 35% bonus on purchases, and I think it might be about 25% bonus at the moment, so.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So it's like the Uber of car parking spaces.
That's it, and I think that's how they almost brand it too. Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else that you've seen that you like?
Not in way of ICOs or anything like that. Sort of been caught up with getting ready to go back to school and things like that. But yeah, it's just been interesting. Like starting the way that I've sort of started off and how it's sort of progressed. From Coinbase, just having your wallet there and buying your kind of basic coins, then moving on to CoinSpot. That seemed to take forever for me to be verified, so I could actually get on and BTC markets. But, it's interesting when you see the differences in the price of the coins and what they're trading between the different markets. At one stage there I was looking Coinbase to CoinSpot. It was nearly a 20% difference.
You've discovered the secret of arbitrage, mate.
Yeah. So all I was thinking was bloody CoinSpot, Coinbase. For some reason, you can only buy $250. Well, that's my limit for the week. So I was thinking, how easy would it be if you were uploading, $10,000 at a time and just transferring across, and even with fees and things like that, if you walk away with a lazy 10% on a couple of hours work, that's not bad.
Absolutely. So, did you get verified with a driver's license or a passport? Do you remember?
I think it was a driver's license because we were away at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've got a passport, get verified with the passport.
Okay.
And see if that increases your limit.
Right. Oh, okay. I might do that tonight. See if it makes a difference.
Because pretty well, like everyone, I generalize a lot. You'll find that out. Everyone has a driver's license. So if there's people in a line to get verified, there might be 2,000 people ahead of you, but less people have a passport. So the guy who's in charge of verifying passports is just going to be going through them like that.
Oh, true.
And you're going to be on a higher limit because a passport is a higher identity document, because you can use an expired passport as ID, whereas you can't use an expired driver's license as ID for some reason.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
One of the things I noticed too, like cost-wise, Coinbase, I was kind of, I don't know, and I was kind of putting in little bits at a time. I'd say, I think I'll buy $50 of Litecoin, and then I was buying $50 of Ethereum, and then I kind of put in $200 and didn't know whether or not I was paying a 4% fee or I was paying a $4 fee every time I was depositing money. Right. But then with CoinSpot, is it POI? Is that the money transferring system? I can't exactly.
Poly.
Poly, yeah, that's it. Yeah. You can do it with no cost. So I transferred money straight and it was instant. The money was, I transferred it, came up with verification. I had to put in my, access number and password. And straight away, the money was there.
How scary was that, though? You're giving someone else your net banking ID.
Well, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was CoinSpot or Coinbase actually turned off Poly for a while, or the banks turned them off because they were just so overwhelmed with so many people buying in.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if they've actually turned it back on. It was off for about a week and a half. But yeah, I used Poly today on CoinSpot.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a little bit scary giving someone else my ID and my password, but I thought, oh well, what the hell?
Yeah.
Worst they can do is drain my bank account, right?
That's right. And this is a secondary bank account anyway, so it doesn't really matter. There's not a hell of a lot of money there. So
yeah. Very good. Werner, I hope you're taking a photo of this because William's just answered all of your questions for you, for all of the ICOs. So thank you, William. There's like 10 different sites there that we'll actually be able to look at. So, alrighty. Jenny, do you want to say something? No? Nope. Okay.
No, I'm just battling traffic at the moment, so probably best that I focus on what's in front of me.
Okay. You worry about the traffic, don't worry about the coins. So is there any other questions, silly questions or other questions? Mining, super, tax. We've got some time before I'm going to cut you all off. There was somebody who was asking about mining last week, and I mentioned that I'd actually connected with a guy here in Brisbane who is making mining rigs, and I'd have to look up the price again, but I think it was for $3,000 you get a mining rig that you just basically turn it on and walk away, and you pull between $7 to $20 a day out of that, just as a passive income. And sorry, for $4,000 you're making $7 to $20 a day. For a $5,000 rig you're making $14 to $40 a day, just in mining Bitcoin. And you can switch it over so it mines Ethereum for you instead if you want to mine Ethereum, if you prefer that to Bitcoin. Kodak, the company that went bankrupt after not backing digital cameras, they've come out and launched a mining rig that they've put out. So, Kodak's rebirthed itself as the latest technology, except the Kodak mining rig is $3,400, so it's a little bit cheaper than what I've mentioned here. However, when you buy it, you're only leasing the machine for 2 years. So at the end of 2 years, they actually take the machine from you, and above a certain quota, they will actually take 50% because they're leasing the asset to you rather than you actually owning it. So if anybody's looking for a cheaper mining rig, just be careful of the fine print. Because you might be signing a lease agreement rather than a purchase agreement, and you might be signing an agreement to split the profits with the person who actually is selling it to you or leasing it to you. So the ones we're talking about is just, it's straight up computer. It's got a couple of graphics cards in it. You plug it in and you set it, you forget it. And as I say, you can come back and you can change it to another coin if you like. But all the profits are yours, and automatically, once it gets up above $20, it automatically transfers into your wallet. So you literally don't even need to go in there and collect the profits. It's just done automatically for you. It's open source software. It's freeware. You don't need to pay a license to Windows or anybody else. So there's no stings in the tail on that one.
So that's passive income. If you want to say you want to earn a little bit more because you've got some free time on your hands, are you able to potentially earn more than that?
Well, you just need to get a bigger mining rig. There's no way for you to sit there and manually process people's transactions because it's an algorithm that's solved by the computer. True. Unless you can solve algebraic equations to 16 decimal places in your head, I probably wouldn't try.
Jeremy, I've got a silly question.
Excellent.
It's in regards to private and public keys.
Yes.
When I signed up and I got my wallet, was I supposed to get the private and public key when I completed the process? So when do I get that?
It depends on the wallet. So some of them won't have a private key. Some of them will have like a 12-word phrase called the seed phrase. And sometimes they don't even show you that. Like it sets up the thing on your computer, And it's only if you go into settings and backup that it actually shows you the 12-word phrase or the private key. So some of them don't show you the back engine. Some of them do. It's just one of those things. But if you've got like a 5-year-old computer and you've opened like a CoinSpot or a blockchain account on it, and then all of a sudden your computer dies and you throw it out and then you go, oh, holy shit, I'll try to open up my new account. Unless you've got that private key or unless you've got that 12-word phrase, you've lost all your money.
Wow, okay.
The guys who open it, it's not like you can go to the bank and say, I've forgotten my password or I've forgotten my PIN number. It's gone. Nobody can help you because nobody knows that secret code except for you. So it's up to you to actually back up the wallet, and you can put it onto like a little USB, or you can write it down on a piece of paper and take a photo of it and, you know, save the photo in your Dropbox under a password security or something like that. But yeah, as I say, like some of them will show you up front when you're setting up. Some of them will have it in the background. But it's up to you to find that and keep that secret.
So I need to actually, I'm in Coinbase, so I need to go and see where that is and try to find it.
Yeah, I forget the exact interface for Coinbase. I've got Coinbase and CoinSpot and CoPay and Blockchain and iDo and a whole bunch of other weird ones. And some of them will use a different system. So some of them will have like just this hexadecimal, you know, long string of numbers and letters.
Yeah.
And some of them will have the little QR code, and some of them will have the 12 words. Now, whatever it has is whatever it has, but you need to keep that a secret. The public token, of course, you can show your public key to me, and that's how I send you $5.
Okay.
So
I'll go look for it.
Yeah, it's like if I've got your BSB and account number, I can put money into your bank, but I can't take it out.
Yeah.
But if I know your BSB and your account number and your password, then hell yeah, I can take money out of your account. And if you lose all three, then you're stuffed.
Okay.
Could I add in there, mate?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Verna, depending on which exchange you've got, okay, when you go to the exchange, I haven't worked with Coinbase, but on CoinSpot, they actually have a wallet, and you just use the public key there. There's no private key. All the exchanges actually hold the private keys for anything held on the exchange. But if you are transferring to a Nano or a Trezor, okay, it's important for you to take action with what Jeremy just said. So I'm just trying to understand, was your question regarding what's on exchanges or what's actually in physical or wallets like Exodus?
Oh, okay. My question was more around, you know, I know that you need to have the private and public key to be able to access your funds or move your money around. And when I signed up with Coinbase and got my Ethereum wallet, Ethereum, there was no numbers given to me. There was no public numbers. There was no private.
Okay, because Coinbase is an exchange.
Won't put any numbers for you because the exchange holds those numbers.
Yep.
You just have to make sure that you're the only person who is actually getting into Coinbase. Hence, you'd always make sure that you got two-step Google authentication, so nobody can use your password. So
yeah, I've got that.
So as an example, on CoinSpot, which is similar to Coinbase, when you want to transfer the money, you just do it within the exchange without a private key. Because the exchange holds a private key. You don't even know what that is. You only know what the public key is because it will show you when it sends it to wherever you want to go.
Oh, okay. And that's the key that I need to store?
No, not when you're on an exchange, only if you have a private hardware wallet or you have a wallet like Blockfolio, they introduced that, Jeremy, or Exodus or other ones, you'll need to keep the information. But if it's on the exchange, all right, they hold the private key. You've just got to make sure you have the only password and the Google Authenticator to take your money away. So you can move your money straight off any exchange to any other exchange or private wallet without a private key.
Awesome.
That's a much better explanation.
Thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. So there's different systems, and sometimes like you can buy Ethereum and Litecoin and Bitcoin on Coinbase, but you can't buy IOTA. Yeah. So to buy IOTA or Cardano, you might have to change your Ether from that exchange that you're on across to another one.
And at that stage, Jeremy, will I need then to know these numbers, or because it's on the exchange, even I'm moving from exchange to exchange, all I need is my 2 authentication steps?
And there's even some of them which have the little QR code. So like you might open an exchange on your computer and then you hold your phone up in front of it and goes bing, and it recognizes the it recognizes the QR code. So there's quick and easy ways around it. I've had trouble when I've had 2 exchanges on the computer, and you can just copy and paste the code across because you can't take a picture of your own computer screen with using your own computer monitor. Otherwise, if I'm going back the other way and they don't have the QR code, then I'll actually copy and paste the 16-digit code and send myself an email or a Facebook message or something like that. So I can send it from my computer to my phone or from my phone to my computer, and I'm the only person who sees that.
And do you need to keep that number that you've just used?
Not if it's the public key.
Okay.
Because that's like your BSB and account number. So I could literally walk into the bank and say, look, I want to give money to Werner, and, provided I know you, they might actually, they probably wouldn't give me the BSB and account number, but they'd make sure that it goes into your account. Whereas the private one is where you access your funds. And if you're having these off-site wallets like William's talking about, I don't stress about it too much, because if someone hacks into the exchange and steals, I've got 6 different exchanges. They steal $1,000 from here or $500 from there, it's not going to kill me. If I had umpteen $1 million in Bitcoin, I wouldn't want to store it on the exchange, because if someone's going to be a hacker and they're going to rob someone, they're more than likely going to rob the bank. Right? They're going to rob the big exchange where there's millions of accounts. They're not going to try and come and rob me personally or hack into my computer personally. So that's why a lot of people who've got really big balances, they say, don't keep your money on the exchange, because the exchanges are a target. And they'll have their little private thing and they'll store it on their USB, or they'll put it on another computer that's not connected to the internet, and they'll hide it away in a sock drawer somewhere. And then when they want to trade, when they want to buy, they'll jump onto the exchange, they'll transfer it from their private wallet to the exchange, they'll do their transaction, then they'll pull it back off, then they'll stick it away. Now, there's a word for those kind of people. They may be paranoid, they may be super cautious, they may be whatever, and that's okay. I'd probably feel differently if I had hundreds of millions of dollars, but I don't. So I'm not stressed about it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Matt said he's going to tattoo his on his butt. So probably only 17 women in the whole of Australia will be able to know what his account number is. One of them being his massage therapist and one being his doctor.
I love it.
Thank you, Matt, for keeping it highbrow. That's a classic. All right. If you've watched the other calls, you'll know a bit more about the mining. If you want to set up the mining rig, there's a possibility for setting up superannuation funds, because you might have a couple of $1,000s to play with in your own name and put into some of these coins. But if someone gives you a really hot tip and you go, shit, I wish I had $20,000 or I wish I had $50,000, if you have that in your super fund, then you can actually do that through one of these exchanges. So there's only one that I've found in the whole of Australia who will handle superannuation money. If you find another one, please let us know. Yep, that's the one, William. That's the only one I've found. So, and that's on the Cryllionaire side as well.
Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. So, CoinSpot will now accept superannuation self-managed super funds.
Oh, okay.
I've just completed this exercise.
Yep.
And BTC Markets will in the future. They sent me an email to say they're upgrading their system, but definitely independent reserves a good start for people.
Yeah. Yep, yep. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So, all right, super funds. We've covered ERC20 and ERC721 in another call. We've talked a little bit about tax and any other silly questions. We might wind up early tonight. We've got 10 more minutes and no one's going to laugh at you. Except for Matt's butt. Well, I mean, that was just there to laugh at. But we won't laugh at you for silly questions. We'll just laugh at you for talking about your butt. No, no more silly questions. No more other coins to share. Exciting ones. I've actually been looking, like once I went down the medical marijuana rabbit hole, I spent about an hour looking through that. And it's amazing how they're using the technology. So I'll put up their Budbo, which is one of the ones. We talked about FuseX on another call, which is the one that holds 15 different cryptocurrencies and 10 credit cards on the one card. But yeah, the medical marijuana one led me down a rabbit hole where there's about a dozen companies in Australia as well, not just cryptocurrencies. About a dozen different companies in Australia who are actually trading in medical marijuana and making smokables and edibles and all sorts of things. Some big pharmaceutical companies are using it. And they're saying it's amazing the number of discoveries they're getting now, because for the last 80 odd years, marijuana has been illegal, so they couldn't actually get it in vast quantities. And they couldn't test it like they've tested every other plant that's available on the market to make, you know, beauty products and healthcare products and that sort of stuff. And so now it's been legalized for medical use in America and in Australia. They can actually test it and go, wow, this thing actually cures asthma and it cures gingivitis and it cures this and it cures skin diseases. And they're just going nuts with it at the moment. So it's amazing how they're using it for animals and for people, skincare, healthcare, treating anxiety and depression and autism and all sorts of other things. So that was a bit of fun. If anybody wants the details on that, you can shoot me an email. It's not really a Cryllionaire thing. It's more of a stock market thing. So. Matt's going to sign up for the testing, but I think it's pretty high tech. I mean, I can't wait for them to come out with something like that with normal medications, because there's some people who are in a legitimate amount of pain and they get, you know, OxyContin, or they get, I don't know, pseudoephedrine or morphine or something like that. And if someone knows you're on those, they can break into your house, they can steal those pills, they can sell them to their friends, they can sell them on the black market. But with this one that actually uses your thumbprint and your iPhone, you literally can't steal someone else's medication unless you steal their thumb. So that turns it from a misdemeanor into a major felony. So it'll be interesting to see if they use that for others. Sorry, JT, you got something to add?
Oh, sorry, Matty talking there. Just being serious now for a moment. I was just going to say, I'm interested in that, as you, like, you know,
yep.
the CBD oil and this sort of stuff, even if, you know, it hasn't got the THC in it necessarily, but it's still got the other medicinal properties for people who have medical,
yeah,
you know, conditions, that sort of thing. So definitely, I'll be interested in finding out more. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's actually pictures on the Egyptian stelae of marijuana leaves. They used to use it for painkillers and to treat sort of anxiety and that sort of stuff as well. So it's thousands of years old. It's just like, as I say, the last 80 years where it's been banned. So it hasn't been subject to all the scientific thing. It's been demonized a lot, but you know, there's people who get drunk and beat up other people, and people who get drunk and do terrible things. But I've never heard of anybody going on a marijuana rampage and beating anybody up or killing anyone.
Yeah, so, I know some, I won't know, but just I'll say elderly people that have been trialling it because of, you know, those reasons that we just talked about. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be your ideal cup of tea, but it's probably a safer alternative than some of the other drugs that are out there. So, yeah. Very cool. All right, there's no more questions. We'll finish up. We'll make it an early night. But if you got some great information that you want to share with the group, shoot it through to me, and I'll put it on the website so everyone can access it. You got something else, mate? Nope, just a bit of background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming along. Thank you, Verna. I hope you've learned some valuable things.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a big learning curve for everybody. We're all in the same boat. We've all got our L plates on. Some of us might have been learners for 3 months or 3 days or 6 months, but there's no one here who's got like 10 years experience because it simply didn't exist. So we're all just helping each other and all learning from each other. And yeah, with over 2,000 coins to look at, it's far too big a job for any one person to say, yes, I'm an expert on the space. I mean, I used to think I was an expert on the stock market because I could name the top 200 stocks and all their little codes. But once you get into hundreds and thousands, then nobody can do it. So you need a team of people to help you and look at different things. So thank you again. And this recording will be up on the website in the next 24, 48 hours if you want to share it with other people. And make sure you watch the other two to catch up to speed. And next week, please come along prepared to share a couple of coins that you've looked at so that we can all give you our feedback on whether we think they're good or wonderful, and we can share with you the coins that we've found out as well. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Debbie.
See you, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.